Is a guy called me and he said to me, he said, man, it was a debt collector, a small debt collector. And he said, man, the refusal to pay isn't working. Oh man, I think I was getting me some fish, and I just stopped. I stopped. I said, dude, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he was like, oh, it's not working. I'm like, you don't know the basics, bro. And I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you, but I'm just gonna have a whole conversation with you around it until you get it. And so we had a whole conversation, and I was like, I mean, I'm thinking in my head, he don't know the basics, right? So the basics of it is I refuse to pay, right? So that's the basics. So don't veer off from the basics. And then um, you just come up with several hundred ways of saying it. So say for an example, like I was telling you, the technology and the keywords, right? So the small time debt collector, instead of them taking hundreds of thousands of dollars of hits, they can only take that, a couple times. Then they're going to change up their operations. So with this particular company, they changed up their operations. He was like, "Yeah, man, when I say I refuse to pay, they're taking me. They'll say, hey, we're not going to contact you anymore, right?" So I was just like, dude, why not change it up? You have no money, right? I'm not going to pay. I will not pay, right? So it's hundreds of ways to do it, hundreds of ways to say it, really thousands, right? Um, so what I did over the weekend, Saturday, literally Saturday, is I came up with 500 ways to say I basically just don't have no money, right? So say for example, in a black community, it's you ask somebody for some money in a black community, like a male, they're gonna be like, I'm fucked up. So what does that mean? That means I don't have no money,
Down
right?
bad.
So it goes back to what I was telling you. Yeah, I'm doing bad right now. You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? So say for example, I get a lot of my ideas out of people outside of credit repair. Like, so I use a nail shop, right? Or nail salon. And that's the ordinary person, right? So you got to understand the FDCPA is for the least sophisticated consumer. So if people is thinking like that, well, then that's what it is, right? So um, I'll just play with it, right? Like we have a baseball game this evening. I would literally just take my iPad and I would just literally come and just say, um, yeah, I would just literally freak it out, right? So say for example, I'm gonna open up my phone and come with let me show you what I was coming up with. My financial situation has been really difficult. I'm working hard to manage. I appreciate the extra details you gave me, but I'm not going to pay. Please forgive me as I'm working towards to fix my home and try to get brakes for my new car. Right? So
That was a lot. That was a mouthful.
you look at that and be like, really? But I promise you, that's how them checks came into this door.
Right. 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 You've said from the beginning, don't lie and don't overcomplicate anything.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
yeah, it's really that simple. Like, I mean, I just come up with ways like, okay, cool. Like, so to me, to be honest with you, like the whole debt validation thing is like super dead, right? It never was a lot. It's just something that people created, right? And so
Yep.
when people create stuff, it's just like, dude, come on now. And so these companies just went with it. So, but under the FDCPA, like once you dispute outside of that 30-day mark, dude, they really
Mhm.
don't have to respond to it, right? So you just
Right.
literally like sending off a piece of paper at this point. So how did I monetize that? All right, cool. So What I said was, so keep in mind, you're literally just throwing some shit on the wall, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So typically when you send off what's called a debt validation letter, whatever that type stuff is, you send it off and then they just send you something in the mail, right? Oh, this is what the medical bill, or this is what Sprint said, or this is what the reposition. They just send that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did I start monetizing this? I was like, dude, the only convenient way to contact me is via email. So I just put that little sentence right there within that letter. And so once again, you'll send it off. They'll send you something in the mail. And then now you got the physical mail, and now I'm finna sue you because I told you to send it to me in email, right? And
Right.
so we got a squabble about that. It's an inconvenience to me. And so one of them checks is about that. So it's just like this dude Vance right here, man, keep reinventing himself over and over and over. So it's just like you were saying earlier, right? So you were saying like, you dispute, and then they won't put like their dispute on their remarks, right?
Yep.
And so that's a violation under the FCRA and FDCPA, right?
Right.
So a lot of people come to me and they like, oh, I'm like, okay, screenshot this. Show me what I need a full screenshot, right? And so they'll have them remarks on there. So, and then I ask them a question like, so some people might have like a legitimate like issue, right? And I say, well,
Mm-hmm.
because they can say it's disputing, but you really didn't take care of the dispute, right? So I asked them, like, they'll come back with like, you know, some answer, right? And I just be like, okay, cool. So what I would do is I would literally just handwrite, say, I'm no longer disputing, update my credit report, right? So when they don't update the credit report, they don't remove it,
Right. Right. Right.
violation, right? So yeah, so
Love it.
once again, so like it's all about the violation. It's nothing, it's never about the debt, right? I don't even care about the debt. And
Right.
then so yeah, so like um a couple of days, like so say for example, young lady reach out and she's like, yeah, I want this stuff off my report. So I'm like, all right, cool. Look, so let me employ some tactics, right? So I pull out a white sheet of paper and pen, and I say, hey, I ran out of money. That's what I said. I ran out of money, and I can't pay the debt, right? So what they did was they marked the information disputed. And I'm like, okay, we have a violation here because that's not a dispute, right? We're refusing to pay. So I'm like, all right, cool. So yeah, now we're in like settlement discussions and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, look, to get rid of me right now, $4,500, So it's just a lot of tactics that can be done to make the debt collector, bag up. Yeah, so I just think like, dude, like just turn like lesson like what I've discussed to you in like the last 10 minutes has been so simple, right? But yet powerful.
Right.
But you gotta know how to like take it to the next level. And so turn it into a money making machine. And but yeah, so that's I'm a real firm believer. It's like crazy. I mean, it's over $10,000 in checks here. And I tell people all the time, like, dude, like you should be making over 100 grand easy a month doing credit repair. And so it's like Monday, like repeat it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But once again, I will repeat essentially what I just told you hundreds of times, and it's going to happen because another factor is right. So it's always input output at 100, right? Input output at 100, and then like the people that you're dealing with ain't gonna be like super consistent, right? So if you do it 100 times, on the other end of the stick, 20, 25 might come, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's 25 violations that you can work with, right? So say for example, if you're like, because I'm treating these violations like crack, like, dude, look, you know what? You got
You gotta
2,500,
do
you
more
can
of
get,
those.
yeah,
You
you
got
got
more than
3,500,
violation.
You know what I'm saying? You done. So if you just do the math, right? So say for example, dude, if we just get 25 violations and we just like super do it at like 3,500, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, we got us a good sandwich for the day. You know what I mean? And like these debt collectors, they're 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 wanting to settle. They're wanting to settle. They're like, dude, we don't want to deal with this,
Of
right?
course. Yeah, of
Putting all this
course.
stuff, I put a lot of stuff on the internet, and they just don't want that exposure. Like like I had Midland in a deposition, and they said they receive over 8,000 pieces of mail per day.
Right.
I'm like, dude, okay, if I can slip one letter through their system and get 4,500 bucks a day, that's over a $2 million business, right? So I'm
Hello.
like, dude, like it's just a great opportunity if people like understand the gems in information and data and doing research. Right. So say for example, like I'll do a lot of research on Pacer, right? I'll see why these people is getting sued, right? And I'll just go like if I notice like a debt defense firm people is like representing these companies a lot, I will go look up that attorney's name and see all these cases that that attorney is in or all the cases that this firm is in, and I'll see, I analyze like, okay, cool. This case took 3 months, right? Now they got a notice of settlement, so it took 3 months to settle. Okay, cool. So let me go back and research the case and see what they
Yep.
did, and then I just reverse engineer it.
I would recommend everybody gets a Pacer account. Would you agree with me? Get a Pacer account.
I'll spend at least $1,000 a month on that thing. Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yep. I
But
bet.
it pays off, right? So
Right.
you got to understand it's consistency, right? So I've been through a lot of hurdles, right? Right. So it's not, I just didn't hit the wall and stop. I hit the wall, got up, dust myself off, and continue to do it. So it's not just an overnight success. It's not, it's 20 years in the making, and I'm still working on the weekends, coming up with different things to say and do, things of that
Yep.
nature.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, your shirt says it all. At the end of the day, sue debt collectors, get money, sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah, when it comes to credit, there's a stigma with credit repair, good debt versus bad debt. But the thing is with these debt collectors especially, they're banking on your ignorance. They're banking on you or a consumer to just give up, like you're saying. They get a stall letter, they get discouraged, they get overwhelmed, right, with the whole process. And they're banking on you to do that and give up, but as you keep saying, not, don't do that. Like, and if somebody would want to reach out to you, they should do that as well. You're not an attorney, so, and you're still winning.
Yeah, commonly with that stall letter, right? So say for example, typically that's coming from the consumer reporting agencies, right? So um, when I typically get it, I'm going to draft a lawsuit because under the FCRA, it doesn't. Well, let's talk about TransUnion specifically. TransUnion, they're going to say, hey, um, we applaud you, and did you use a credit clinic and all that type of stuff, right? So say for example, under the FCRA, it doesn't give them the right to do that, right? So under the FCRA, it says it has to be frivolous and something else, right? So they didn't deem it to be frivolous. They just said, "Hey, did you get a credit click?" Go da 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 da.
Right.
Oh, dude,
Yep.
you didn't reinvestigate the dispute at all. So now, we're going to go into litigation about that. So once again, that's another opportunity that people can take and just turn it into money, but they have to know like the basics of what to do, and how to spot it and turn an opportunity like into compensation. Like, I mean, I'm not a rich guy. You know, I'm from East Side Oklahoma City. Like, oh, you had to turn like the bad things into the good things like all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to know how to like recognize it.
For someone that's just starting out, either with repairing their own credit, starting a credit repair company, or wanting to do what you do, what would you recommend?
Well, starting a credit repair business, really, I would 100%, man. Um, it, I want to change the landslide of like all of this, how credit repair is viewed. So starting out, go 100%, go get your credit monitoring. Like go get a credit monitoring company, not a credit
Mhm.
monitoring link. Like not, you know, somebody giving you $5 every time somebody sign up. No, that's a piece of the pie, right? So say for an
You're trying to be a
example,
bakery.
go get 100% of the pie. Yeah, we get 100% of it. Like, you got to
Mhm.
understand, like, it's super profitable. And the thing about it is, like, while, a lot of people glorify the money, but it's not the money. You got to understand this. Credit Karma, I get my data directly where Credit Karma gets their data from, directly, right? So we got the same data broker, right?
Mhm.
The thing about it is they're worth 8.1 billion. So say for example, they're giving out the data for they're giving you free. So it has to be something valuable within what they're doing to be worth $8.1 billion, right? So it's the
Right.
people's information. So starting out with a credit repair company, I would tell them, dude, look, go 100%, go get your own credit monitor,
Okay.
get 100% of the pie. And
Yep.
then do your affiliate marketing, how they do that, right? So do the whole affiliate marketing, how they do it, build that up, and really stick to one thing, right? So whatever that one thing is, like just like super run it up and just be laser focused on that. So I'm super focused on debt collection, right? So that's what I'm monetizing. So it's a couple of ways. Like I looked at all of the ways that a debt collector would contact a consumer, and then I just came up with a way to monetize it, right? So say
Right.
for example, we talked about the phone calls, right?
Mhm.
So that's how a way to contact the debt collector. And so the emails and the text messages can be done um, one way, meaning like just refusing to pay, right? Or changing it up a few different ways. And then we talked about the letters, and then we talked about the credit reporting. That's five different
Mhm.
ways. So, and that's all the way that collector can contact the consumer. So I just figured out a way to monetize it, and it's you know that's basically what I stick to, and that's what I do.
And now you're getting checks every day by the handful. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, because dealing with consumers is just like, dude, like I mean, a lot of people put that like reoccurring stuff on a pedestal, but dude, really, I've done that. I've been there, done it, and it's like a
Right.
super headache because like a lot of people's payment gonna fail. It's just like, like it's just excuses, man. Like at the end of the day, dude, I'm just trying to get me like a burger from Burger King and like performer service, and then that's really it. So
Right.
it's just
Right.
like let's keep it real simple.
Yep.
But Vance, thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the knowledge. My dear friend, Vance Dotson.